Hey, it's Tesla Canuck here. I'm back with another video. Those of you who have followed my channel know that I love my Teslas, but you also know that occasionally I like to talk about some things that aren't necessarily perfect. So today I'm going to talk about one of those things that keeps my Tesla experience from being 100% perfect. And keep in mind, nothing is ever 100% perfect, so take this with a grain of salt. But one of the things that I don't understand for the price of the vehicle, why we do not have Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. It could, in my opinion, just be another app that pops up that we can use. I'm not sure why this isn't happening, but anyhow, there is a solution. You can use Android Auto today in your Tesla Model 3, and I'm going to show you how. Now, there's no way to do it with CarPlay, and I'll explain once I get everything set up. Why don't we take a look? Okay, I purchased this this magnetic mount here, and basically it's a suction cup. It's just suctioned on behind the monitor there, so it's kind of out of the way. I don't think it looks too obtrusive, but that's going to be subjective to people. So anyhow, what it does do, it allows me to basically put my phone here like this. Now obviously this isn't perfect, but I'm going to show you how you can use Android Auto. I mean, some of the screen is going to be blocked. You can put it up higher. I haven't put it up higher because I find that any higher kind of blocks my view, especially since I have also a camera mounted up there. So anyhow, for me, I mean, I think it's fine. I can still see my state of charge. I can still access some of the controls up there. The only thing I really can't do is I can't see the temperature or the time or that type of thing. But, you know, I have that on my phone anyways. Okay, so here's the beauty, right? So now that my phone is here, I can just say, okay, Google, open Android Auto.
Open it.
Okay, so now, let me just make sure that the volume is on full, so I don't make the mistake of last time I tried to do something like this. Okay, so now you can see I've got Android Auto, and it is easy for me to access. So I can go through and, you know, I can clear things like this. Oops, don't want to call that. That was a scam call anyway, so I won't bother blurring out that phone number. Feel free to call it and give them a dose back. But anyhow, I can go through the different options, like maps, for example, phone calls. I can go here. Obviously, I'm going to have to blur some of that out. Have access to my music, which is great because I love what is it? Is it Slacker or something that that Tesla uses? I mean, it's great, but there's some limitations. So when I'm in my music in the car, and if I'm using the Slacker or whatever it is that Tesla is using, you can't really call up songs on demand, right? And you know, I've invested a lot of time into my Google Play Music, and those are the playlists I want to listen to. I can call up any song that I want anytime, so I would prefer to use this. And I like this setup because it's easy access when I'm driving. If I want to like a song or shuffle or something, I have access to these controls, and it's really great. It integrates very well with apps like WhatsApp and other messaging platforms, so I can message people. I can do all this stuff hands-free and yet have everything within my visual range in a way that doesn't obscure my ability to keep my eyes focused on the road. So I've tried other mounting points. I tried mounting it down here. It's not as good. It's kind of, you have to look down, which you don't want to do. So I find that this is probably the best setup. The mount is pretty stable, right? So we're going to go for a drive in a moment, and you can see how this works when you're on the road. I wanted to cycle back and talk about Apple CarPlay because, as you know, if you watch my videos, I'm in both ecosystems. Much love for both platforms. I'm not going to get into a religious war because I just like them both. But anyhow, With the iPhone, CarPlay is not a native app on the iPhone, whereas in an Android device, Android Auto is a native app. So what that means is basically anyone with an Android phone can use Android Auto. And I do wish that Apple would do something similar with the iPhone. I think that would be fantastic. But ultimately, I wish that Elon would allow us to have native integration with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto right in the console. I'd love to know if you guys have any idea why this isn't happening. Maybe you've read a tweet in the past from Elon or something. I mean, put that into the comments. I would love to know your opinion on why this isn't happening. All right, well, let's go for a drive. Okay, we're on the road now, and I'm going to show you some of the benefits of why this system with Android Auto that I've concocted here is of value. So, and you might get a bonus snow squall as we're driving. We've had a bunch of snow over the last couple of days, so we'll see what happens there. Okay, now, to me, the biggest benefit of using Android Auto in the car is access to more hands-free stuff. Being able to message, having more access to navigation, these type of things, even though salt even though the voice navigation on the Tesla itself, the native feature there, is pretty good. I mean, most of the times when I press the button and I tell the Tesla system where I want to go, it gets it, but it's still not as good as what can be done with Android Auto. So let's see how this works, and hopefully Google doesn't let me down. All right, let's try this out. Okay, Google, navigate to Springwater Park.
Navigating to Springwater Provincial Park.
See, there we go. Whoa, shit. Okay. So that in Canada is what we call like a giant snowdrift, and you see what happens when so the wind blows the snow on the road, and it just becomes a giant drift, and that's what happens when you drive through it. I mean, you just basically lose traction. So that's why you got to be careful and know what the proper speed is in this type of weather. Now, one thing I do notice with this setup is that I can't see my speedometer. Okay, so I might be back to the drawing board there to see how I might be able to position that better. But because it's on a magnet anyways, I mean, look, it's pretty easy to just kind of do that, right? So I'm sure I can position it better. Let's keep going. Okay, so I got to pay attention here too, because I got a feeling there's going to be more snowdrifts like that. Probably not going to drive all the way to Springwater Provincial Park, even though that would be nice. Maybe I'll do that in the summertime for you guys. But what I'll do is, I'm just do a little bit more driving here. So let's see what else.
400 meters, turn left to stay on Simcoe County Road 27.
Thank you very much, Google. So what else can you do with Android Auto? Well, if you get notifications that come in, right, they're all going to come in here, and it's a very easy to use, simple layout.
Next left to stay on Simcoe County Road 27.
And as you can hear, obviously I'm getting the voice navigation, that kind of stuff. Let's just pay attention here for a moment. Okay. All right, and as I mentioned, definitely one of my favorite features is having access to my Google Play Music. And again, I can say, hey Google, play some music.
Okay, music on Google Play Music. Here you go.
And then what it'll do, it'll basically shuffle, right? So you can call up any song that you want. So let's try doing that. Hey Google, play The Number of the Beast by Iron Maiden.
Right, The Number of the Beast, Live Long Beach Arena by Iron Maiden. Playing on Google Play Music.
That's a good choice. The live version. This one's good. We'll just pause that so we don't get copyrighted on this. Yeah, and that's the challenge with the Tesla system with the Slacker. I mean, you can get away with it a few times. You ask for a specific song and it'll play it, but it definitely won't do that too many times in a row. You can't replay the song. Again, this to me is of great value because when you're driving, I have a fairly long commute, you want to have access to your music library. Here's another snowdrift. Let's just slow down. Okay, shit. Okay, it's good. Yeah, you have access to your stuff. That's it. I mean, it might not seem like a big deal, but I think it is. I would love to see this integrated into the Tesla system. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I will talk to you again soon. Tesla Canuck, over and out.